Hey everyone! The Cafe Corner was the first modular building. It was released by LEGO in 2007 and was available until the end of 2009. It's one of the 7 modular buildings missing in my collection. If I bought one today, new and in the box, it would cost me at least €2,000. The alternative of buying the parts, even without the minifigures, would still be more than €1,000, at least 1,100. Which is too much money. Also, this is a 16-year-old set. Are the building techniques up to date? Are there new parts that would do a better job executing this design? That is the goal of this project, to design a modern and cheap version of this set, but that is still without a doubt the Cafe Corner. I started by using the import feature in Bricklink Studio to get the parts of the set. So I searched by the ID of the Cafe Corner and then imported the parts. You can see here all the parts that are used in the set except minifigures. I then saved this file and then I jumped to Rebrickable. It has a very cool feature. I created a part list and then used the file that I just saved to add the parts. I excluded the fixed molds because I don't want it to automatically start replacing parts. So I added the parts, so I now have all the parts from the Cafe Corner in this list, and I can order by price, which is a really neat feature. Now I can see what parts are the most expensive. I want to keep these under €400, so clearly any part above 50 cents needs to be an exception. Looking at the more expensive parts, we have here the 2 doors. LEGO currently has almost stopped producing these doors without a frame. The only ones that still exist are fairly recent, that are doors with just a small glass window. Usually are the type of doors that you see in restaurants to access the kitchen or to access some storage room or an industrial fridge, something like that. Of course, these doors are not produced anymore, are very rare. For sure, I will need to replace them by framed doors. Also, I have here windows. This window with the 2 studs of depth is also not produced anymore. I believe that it will be fairly simple to replace it by 2 similar windows with just 1 stud of depth. I need to see in the construction if it's possible or not. Then we have the turntable. I think this is an issue only with the color. Then we have this arch with 8 studs. There are a re-edition of this arch. I don't know if it's just replacing. I don't know where, well, probably here. It's being used here, maybe. I don't know how these gray round things are assembled, but probably it's used here. These are easy to replace. It's a common piece, but probably it's not produced in dark blue anymore. I will need to figure out how to reproduce this column. These are the frames, easy to replace. This is probably another issue with the color. Need to check where this actually is used. Easy. This is in light bluish gray. I think now it's in dark bluish gray that it's common to look good. The base plate, well, there are nothing much that I can do, except that these were 2 16x32 base plates, and I can replace it by a 32x32 base plate. It will be probably the same price of one of these, so it's good. These probably can be also easily replaced. These I need to check if this color is available. Also, these I need to check if it's because of the size and if where they are used. Let me check. Probably here and maybe here. Probably they use the same technique. That's why we need to. I need to check if a different size would work. Oh, these ones, yes, I'm aware of the issue with these ones. These skis are used here for this white semicircle thing behind the yellow mug in the sign of the cafe. This is something that I will for sure need to find a new design for it. These pieces are really expensive and we need 11 of them. And then there's more cheaper parts. Probably I will need to replace a few to keep the price under control and under the 400 euros. Then I got the instructions for the cafe corner from LEGO and went into Brickling Studio to design the model digitally. The idea was to build the model exactly like the instructions until I find the expensive parts that I want to replace, and figure that out as I go. But I got a really big surprise very early in the build, and not a good one. The cafe corner is completely empty inside, not even a floor. I didn't know that. I assumed all modulars had furnished interiors. If I was modernizing the cafe corner, I needed to add the interiors. Nowadays, any modular has completely detailed interiors. Not only in the cafe on the ground floor, but also the hotel on the other 2 floors. This will push my budget a lot. Let's see if I can pull it off in the end. But let me show you the up-to-date status of my digital design that is currently at 90 to 95% of completion. Let's start from top to bottom and I will show you what I changed and what is the same and how I solved the problems that I found. Something that is exactly equal to the original one is the cover of the last floor. And you can see now that the second floor has walls and furniture. It has 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, a common bathroom. So this hotel is less fancy than the boutique hotel. You don't have rooms with private bathroom. The bathroom exists 1 per floor, and you have also 2 rooms per floor. One of the first things that I changed is that this part here with the tower was completely attached and you couldn't remove it easily. And I changed that because with this part you can't put people in the rooms, you can't play with it. So this is now a perfectly detachable part, like in any other modular. You can easily remove it, it's stuck only in a few studs. So now you can see better. We have a room in tones of pink and purple. I'm still thinking about this area here. If I will add the closet in this room and solve a bit this wall here. This wall is that weird because I didn't want to mess up with the facade and you have a window here, so I had to put kind of a diagonal wall here so that the wall doesn't cut the window in the middle. So we have a pink room and we have an orange room, just with the bed. There's no space for anything else. We have a common bathroom with shower, a toilet, toilet paper, and a basin to wash your hands. Both rooms have a light over the bed and one here to give some light to the corridor. One thing that you can see is that I have some waste space here. I'm still deciding what I will do with it. And you have here the stairs that go to the first floor. Also, since this is an interior bathroom, I put here some respiration and I have air conditioned here on the outside. One of the things that I'm still looking at is this back, because in this first modular, this back was completely barren. It had nothing. I already added the air conditioning devices, but I think it needs a bit more. One thing common to both floors is that this wall is a bit lower than it could be. I did it to make it easier for people to put minifigures in the rooms or whatever they need to move around. And I added some panels here in the back. This was completely brick built. And to cut costs and reduce a bit the number of pieces, I used panels here where I could. Let's take off the second floor and look at the first floor. In the first floor, we have 2 other rooms and again another bathroom. The bathroom is very similar. The shower, the toilet paper and the basin. And then we have 2 rooms, also very similar to the ones above. Instead of an orange room, we have a blue room. And instead of a pink room, we have a green room. On this one, I could put some cabinet with drawers. It was easier because the windows are smaller, so I could fit better the walls in the middle of the windows. Also, I have the hotel reception because there is no space in the ground floor. You have here the stairs for the second floor, and you have the stairs for the ground floor. So these interiors didn't exist. The fact that I made these interiors caused a few small changes. The stairs were in the middle, and to have a bit more space, I just put them next to the wall. I think that it looks better like this. Let's look at the ground floor where more things are missing. I still haven't solved the main difficulty with this build in terms of expensive parts, which is this white background to the yellow mug in the top of the entrance of the cafe. This that you see here is kind of an alternative thing that I'm working on. This is very hard building digitally with these tubes because it's hard to place them exactly where you want them. So I'm thinking about just buying the parts and checking if this solution is viable or not. You can see here on the side that I have another one, and I have one which is the most common alternative solution, which is using the skis but without the hinge. You need to adjust them by hand. You can't just put them together and they will fit perfectly. You might get something like this, which is a bit weird with different spacing between several skis. Still, the skis are not being currently produced by LEGO. They are kind of expensive anyway, so I was thinking about trying this solution out. In the end, it will make it a more full background, and I think I prefer that to that more empty background with the skis without the hinges. Besides that, I had some challenges with the doors. In the side there was a part of the wall that opened. I found that very weird, and I replaced it by a proper door and put here some steps to align everything. Also, I replaced the door that was here by one with a frame. The columns that were on the side, you can see the model that I used for the column. Instead of having that one piece, I have that modified round tile, and then I used the candle pieces to create the column. And in the end, I have a round brick just to finish and provide the stud for the upper part to connect. I did it here and also here on this side. Then I also replaced the door by one in the frame, and the columns you can see are done the same way. Another challenge was this top, and you can see that it's showing like not okay, but actually from this one I had the parts to do a model, and I proved that with the parts this would work. So what we can see in the original Cafe Corner instructions is that we had a 1x8 arch, and then we had these curved slopes with an extra 1x1 plate coming out that was used to attach them under the arch. And then they placed this sub-construction on top of the tube that was already curved using the two 1x1 round bricks with an entrance. I tried to pick up some of my parts to see how this would work, and what I found out is that although this works on the sides of the arch, in the middle the parts fall out. And this happens because this arch is a different mold from the old one that appeared in the Cafe Corner. So the mold of the arch changed, and in that change it is no longer possible to attach the studs on the more central part of the arch. So I had to find an alternative design, which I tried out with my own parts. Well, forget about the colors need to change. But in that design, the goal was to be able to construct a similar design, but with parts that would be cheaper, by respecting the colors that were used in the original Cafe Corner. So for instance, instead of a full arch, that in dark blue costs a lot, even in the modern mold. I used these arches. They are one brick higher than the original arch. Let me show you the comparison. Okay, and they don't have this part that needs to be filled in by this plate here, 1x2 plate. Okay, so let me assemble this again. So if I assemble this, you can see that if you see it from behind, it's a bit weirder because of the plate. It's straight here while the arch is a bit curved. But since from this side you have the curved slopes here, you actually don't see it. It looks fine. And how did I do to fit in the curved slopes in the same place? So instead of putting them, instead of the studs fitting under the arch, where even with this model I couldn't do the round look of it, I actually attached them to the tube. So this tube here is one stud more to the inside than the original build. And the curved slopes, instead of using just the curved slope with the stud out, I put them on top of a 1x1 plate with a clip, and like this I'm able to attach them to the tube and keep a very similar look to what we have in the cafe corner. Other than that, I added full tiling on the floor of both the cafe and the entrance of the hotel. I changed the stairs of the hotel. They were very rough, just stacked bricks. This is much better. I used a technique that I saw for the first time in the police station modular. I love it and they look beautiful. In the cafe, I already added a counter with the cash register and some suites, and also a flip-up platform to allow the employees to come and go from behind the counter. Behind the counter, I added a sink, a stove, and a coffee machine, and some cabinets with drawers. I still want to add more things like a shelf behind the counter, and of course add some tables and chairs, both on the inside but also on the outside. The set has some tables outside, but they seem too simple for the current standards. I need some inspiration about which style of tables and chairs to use. Do you have any ideas? Just drop them in the comments. To finish, I want to highlight two changes in the facade. The first, it's on the first floor. We now have glass on the windows. The original set had these just open. But nowadays, I believe that having glass is mandatory. The second change is in the tower. We had here grey parrots, but they were really expensive and I didn't manage to do a decent brick build version, so I decided to replace them with snakes. And that's it. If you have any suggestion of things that I should add, just let me know in the comments. I still have a few things I need to finish, and I don't know if I will have any budget left, but I will definitely consider them. Now go build something cool, and I see you in the next one.